Hey everybody, it's Beth from Joy and Gratitude, and I am here to do just a tiny intro to this next incredibly special and very memorable episode. In this episode, you're going to hear from my father, Win Hodges, about some of his life lessons. We'll call it Win's wisdom. He was always an incredible supporter of me, of Gratitude Rocks, of this podcast, and we had the most amazing moment where he wanted to be on our podcast. So you are about to hear my father's life lessons on this podcast with Nio and I. But what makes it even more incredible is that since he recorded this, he has passed. And for many of you that have listened from the beginning, you have heard me talk about my dad many times as having a huge impact on my life. But what amazes me is now that we have this captured, I'm hopeful that you too will get some of the impacts of Wynn's wisdom. So take a listen, enjoy this special, incredible episode from my father. Wisdom from Wynn.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Joy and Gratitude. Today, we are joined by an incredible human being, Mr. Win Hodges, who is going to share with us wisdom. And of course, always with my partner in crime, Miss Beth Mercurio. And please, Beth, tell us more about what today's about.
Yeah, well, couldn't be more honored to be here. Hello, everyone. Welcome, listeners and watchers. And for those of you that know me, you may recognize this incredible human, Win Hodges. My actual name is Beth Hodges Mercurio. So this magnificent man is my father. And for some of you that have been listening from the very beginning, you have heard me mention him. He has had a huge impact on my life. And you've also heard me mention some of the struggles of caretaking and dealing with aging parents. And so we are here, we are living in the real, and we talk about joy and gratitude as a forum for us to untangle and to learn and to grow together. And I can certainly say for myself, so much of my growth has stemmed from having a role model who believes in growth and learning and has provided me such incredible wisdom. As Nio said, what a beautiful word. That is the word of what we would love to learn from my father, Win Hodges, today. So, Dad, welcome. This is such an exciting moment for Nio and I, and we would love for you to share with your beautiful lifetime of almost 85 years. What do you want us to know? What do you want our listeners to know about life?
Well, at this point, at age 85, you get a pretty good perspective on the things, but there have been some aha moments along the way. And they are first, the gift of cancer, second, you be you, and third, the yin and yang. And one of the things I'd say about these things is they're hiding in plain sight. And you don't really see them until you internalize them. And then suddenly it becomes a whole different thing. So for many people, cancer is the aha moment. It starts you thinking about your life and what's important to you and so on. And the first book I read, I think, after being diagnosed with cancer, well, let me back up. I was diagnosed on my 53rd birthday, and the next day was Beth's graduation. And so we told everybody on the following day after her graduation what had gone down. Uh, I will say the diagnosis had an extra load for me because I had been with our best man who died of lung cancer at 36 when he drew his last breath. So I had lived one progression of cancer. And then they did the initial surgery because we all thought it was one tumor. And they go in and they check and they found lymph nodes with cancer. So that immediately made it stage 3. And that is something that really can knock you for a loop. And one of the things that's nice that came out of that was that Margie and I shared our fears and everything else. And we learned from that not to protect each other, but to share those kinds of things. And it helped us. I think it really helped us get through it. One of the books that I read was Bernie Siegel's Love, Medicine, and Miracles. And he talked about extraordinary cancer patients, which is what I wanted to be. And so he had a extraordinary cancer patients place in New Haven where you could go, because he was at New Haven Hospital. You could go down and have sort of a session. So I went down for that session, and I got the best advice I've ever had in my life. The therapist asked me what I wanted to do, and I said, I want to do everything I possibly can to prevent recurrence of this cancer. And she said, well, you might want to rethink that, because you can do absolutely everything just right and still have a recurrence. And then you've made all of this effort and you've lost. However, if you focus on the quality of your life, then no matter how long or short you have, you've won, because you've made the most of that time. And so that focusing on the quality of my life was very important. And I learned one of the things that I have wanted to do when I've approached disease is everything I can to partner with it to make things a success. So I learned to meditate. I learned about visualizing. Uh, a Japanese garden is my ultimate place of peace. And I had several that I could go to. And I went there, and it calmed me down and enabled me to center. And I had a coach on meditation who was very helpful, a good friend. And so all of those things helped me to get going through this process. And then they closed me up uh, after 2 hours, and this was supposed to be a 6-hour operation. So they closed me up and decided the chemotherapy and should take place before any surgery. So I went through 2 rounds of the chemotherapy. The first one, I thought, hey, I got this. The second one said, no, you don't. And it was very hard for me to swallow, painful on my throat. And so I had a much stronger reaction the second round. Then came surgery on August 25th, and they went after everything they could. And they felt they had gotten it, but as a security, they did another round of radiation. And after that, it was only a matter of testing periodically to see if they had gotten everything. They found, when they went in, 5 lymph nodes that had cancer in them. And my surgeon, who ironically was named John Wayne, Wain, said to me that when he was going in there, he was just being fussy. Well, thank God for that, because that really saved my life. And so that was kind of the beginning of where everything happened. I also I developed sort of an aggressive uh, process or mindset about cancer, and so one of the questions that always comes up, I think, for people is why me? But in advance, I knew the answer was James Earl Jones saying, "Why not?" So I had the answer to that question already, and I took it from there and did all of the things, exercising I could do, and everything else uh, that I could do, and it worked for me. And uh, the each test as you go through post cancer checking is like very tense, and you get very apprehensive, but over a period of time, uh, more confident and less apprehensive, which is it's just wonderful. And realizing that truly I was a miracle, because the prognosis for survival was 5%. And so I've been blessed. In fact, if you look at my cancer as a cake, I've had 32 years of icing on that cake. Now, who can complain about that?
There's
Well,
nothing
So,
better than icing.
uh,
Icing is the
yeah,
best.
icing is the best. Dad, what an incredible story. And I think it's really especially meaningful because Nio, as you know, had a similar health diagnosis that shifted her whole life into moving towards thriving. And I think one of the things I want to just talk about is some of the things that you said, which was you had or chose to recognize that you had choice in how you were to move forward after the diagnosis. You said, I tackled and I attacked whatever I could do. I found meditation, coaching, people to support you in this new world. And you actually chose to live instead of just let this be your life. You chose to take actions to say quality of life matters to me and I won't live in fear. And you talk about fear being real every time you go for another test, the fear is still there, but that you don't let that take over, that you face it with courage and choose to live in the moment and in the present. And I'd love Nio to just chime in because so much of her beautiful book is about that. And certainly, Nio, I'm sure you have a lot more that resonated based on your personal experience than what I have experienced. So I'd love to have you share a little bit about what it felt like to listen to my dad's story.
As soon as he was stating his story, I was reliving my story, but also reliving the story of so many that have sat with, that have lived through cancer and many other health issues. And as your dad stated, the differentiator is when you dig in and you let out what's already been in you. And that is the ability to live your life fully. It's really when we are in the dog race, the race that we have every single day, the last thing that we do is pay attention to ourselves. But when somebody gives you a diagnosis that your life is in peril, that's when you make the choice. You make the choice to live or you make the choice to give up. And once you make that choice, action comes next. He took accountability, responsibility for everything that he had to do from his end. And the rest happened naturally. And I am so grateful for the strong way that you were able to not only speak to us about it, but we could feel the energy surrounding it. Thank you.
thank you very much. I want to say that uh, one of the things I brought to it came naturally, and that was the experience of having polio at age 11. And I was fully right side paralyzed. And my parents were, you know, I would smile with half my face, and the other half would not. And the docs were amazed at my recovery from that, recovery sufficient for me to get into the Marine Corps reserves, and from the Marine Corps, I learned another thing about the attitude of attack, attack, attack. And those things helped me and helped my reaction to the cancer. It was kind of, okay, you want to see what I got? I'll show you. And so after it, I went. But, and in terms of what you said about the world going around, what's going on today, I have a little thing I have to get in about the serenity prayer, which is, Lord, grant me the grace to accept the things that I cannot change. No, 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 no. I do not accept them. Understand, maybe, but accept, no. So that's just a little thing. But I'm with background in publishing. Words are important to me. So that one was
So
one of.
you're changing, you have your own version, the Win Hodges version of the Serenity Prayer. There's
That's
still
right.
beauty in it, but you'd like it to say
I understand. I don't accept.
And
Anyway,
Dad, can I ask you one other thing? One of the things you talked about, which I have a vivid memory of, just came to me as we were talking, was when you mentioned attack, 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 meaning the cancer cells. I remember you telling me, which I think is an incredible tool. So that's why I want to bring it up for people. One of the things that you did was actually visualize. You got into visualizations around, you had little Marines, I remember you telling me, that were like out there charging up all the bad cancer cells and trying to allow the good ones to come. And maybe you could share that, because I do think visualization is a tool we can all use. We talk in it right now at the current stage, that's called, I think, manifestation, right? But getting into those tools of what your body and brain think and spend time on can actually truly impact the outcome. And certainly you're sitting here, 30 plus years, or 30, a little under 30 years later than this diagnosis. So you have really used a lot of incredible tools along the way. And I think we can get into the UBU, which is another one. But could you just share a little bit about how you used visualization to actually hopefully help you heal yourself?
yeah, I mean, a lot of that was channeled into exercise. Walking has been my weapon, and so walking when I can, and when I'm feeling terribly weak and everything, going to a place, that Japanese garden, where I could center and sort of re-gear and get ready for the next um, effort. And so, yes, that was an important part of it, but it was more on the regeneration of energy than anything else in terms of fighting it. The next one, if I can go on,
Yes, UBU.
is UBU, and I love this one because I'm learning from somebody much younger. We had a coming of age ceremony in the Unitarian Universalist Church that we went to, and Lila and a few of her classmates got up to speak. And one of them, Libby, got up and talked about how her mother had always told her, "You be you." And that's one of those things, again, which uh, you internalize, and then you start to understand, and it reinforces that context of surviving cancer and what's important to you in your life and so on. UBU clicked with me, and so I realized that this journey through life is a matter of you becoming you. And so I saw things in that light. I was able to look at my life again because I had had many models for my future. graduating from Princeton and commercial success and all that other stuff, which was not me. And so um, it enabled me again to go through some of these things, realize what I was not, accept that I was not that, and try to focus on what I was. And once again, uh, cancer had played a significant role on that because not long after my diagnosis, I started work as a patient uh, advocate in uh, family and centered care and patient and family advisory councils. I don't want to go into all of the details on that, but again, what happened was I found a task talent match. And so that's what I was. I was really good at facilitating. I was good at talking to lung cancer patients in the matching program. And it was an honor to talk with them. I lost most of them. Matter of fact, I can't think of one that survived in that group. So it was uh, anyway. That was a great help in figuring out who I was. Uh, the other one, I've always been interested in philosophy and sort of what's your view of what's going on in the planet and so on and so forth. And here comes the yin and yang. And uh, I love it because, among other things, its grounding in reality is that there's a dot of black in the white and there's a dot of white in the black. And you realize if those weren't there, you would have perfect evil and perfect good, neither of which are possible on this planet. So that recognition was, uh, uh, you know, enlightening, and sort of my view then became, all right, my mission is to contribute to the light. And uh, that, will give me gratitude for having had the opportunity to contribute to the light and doing so. So that was another piece that came in and helped me to realize, uh, particularly with the perspective of age, uh, the importance of their journey, but the joy of the journey. And as you get older, one of the things that you can do is savor your memories. This is not dwelling on the past. It's savoring your life and your memories and realizing how to put them in perspective. And that is something, well, when Beth started the family tradition of gratitude rocks, uh, I was all there because I believed in it. I thought she had the right idea as expanded, and I went and pushed my own uh, uh, agenda for 10 words to go in there. And I think what she's created is a toolkit for the journey. It's all of the things that you can look at and discover about yourself and being you. So uh, that has been another uh, important milestone in my process. I'll be quiet now.
Your process is the right process. We started this podcast because we wanted to provide a space for people to find their you be you. We really wanted a place that people could understand that they didn't have to follow the expectations that were set before them. In your case, go to Princeton, get the graduation, become the corporate executive. But that wasn't you. who was you, was an advocate for others. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the path that we have all led in climbing the ladder and being accomplished. But why not be accomplished in something we love? Why not be accomplished in something that we wake up in the morning in grace and gratitude, and every step of the journey is joyous? And what you're saying to us, it's possible, and more importantly, it's for us to have. So we're excited and we're so grateful for you joining us and stating this, that at this point, I ask you, in the yin and the yang, what is that music that has kept you going? What are some songs that have made you smile through this
Oh,
journey?
I'm ready for you. I heard this was coming, and this is a single melody with two songs, and one version of it is "Simple Gifts," and that is played on the Yo-Yo Ma with
Oh, wow.
this is 85 family. Uh,
It's okay. We can add it into the,
it'll come to me.
Don't worry,
And
we'll add it in.
the other almost have it. The other one is the Lord of the Dance, which comes out of the Rebels experience, and again tradition. Uh, this year will be our 46th straight Rebels, so it's become part of our Christmas tradition. And at the same time, the Lord of the Dance represents that energy, and it also ties in with the fact that life is a dance, and which I love. So it's those two songs are my one song, if you will, because they represent the opposite ends of the spectrum. Simple Gifts is so beautiful, and um, the Lord of the Dance is so energetic. So it's like one of those things that uh, occurs to me, a parallel. Okay, Japan gave us the Japanese card, but they also gave us the samurai. Out of one culture, two very different things, and it's it ties in with my sense of the law of opposites. You can't have good without evil. You can't have dark without light. And when you start thinking about so many things, that starts to uh, be a part of the universe.
That's right.
So,
Dad, it's my
Absolutely.
turn to do some
That's right.
gratitude. You mentioned this being a part of the tradition. Before I jump in and we do gratitude rocks right here, which obviously you already know how to do, I just want to say I'm having a bit of this beautiful aha moment that I want to share with the listeners, which is, Dad, you said your mission is to contribute to the light. It's like I'm getting a little teary. It's such a beautiful mission. I don't think you've shared it with me before. But I think that this whole podcast has been around people understanding themselves. And as I listen, I think as you relay your story and your incredible wisdom to all of us, you were doing a lot of that when I was in my early 20s. You were meditating and visualizing and figuring yourself out and exploring. And in my 20s, I couldn't see that. And so, my note for everyone is it took me 30 years to find my own self. Even though my dad was doing all of these things, I was blind to that. I wasn't ready for that. I was still getting the degree, getting the big job, doing all the things that the world was telling me. So I just want to give people a moment to give them permission to say, it is never too late for you to find your true self and for you to live, fulfill your purpose in life. Find it, live it, be it, and find joy in that every day. It really is never too late. And so stay open. Just stay open to know, understand what it feels like when you feel light and calm. And if there is something that lets you feel like you are being a mission to contribute to lightness, do more of that. That is really my big moment of whoa, because it took me a while. It didn't matter that I had access and an incredible mentor in my father until I was ready. But stay open, because now, look, I have this incredible deep connection with Nio because I've been open to figuring out my purpose and my father. And so stay open to what is out there for you and listen to your true self, and follow its lead. Okay.
And that has given us much joy together.
Yes, it has. It certainly has.
Alison Krauss.
Oh.
Very good.
Simple
we
gifts.
got it.
He took us back to simple gifts.
Simple
Yo-Yo
gifts.
Ma and
Absolutely.
Alison Krauss.
Alison Krauss.
Beautiful. Okay, Dad, I'm connecting with you energetically here. The word, everybody, is...
My picture is blocking it. Can you raise it a little bit?
Can you see? I'll say it, Dad. It's open.
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 The word is open. What does that word bring up for you?
It's, well, among other things, and I made a reference to it earlier, I became open to change, or I was open to change when we got married. And a child of the 50s, I had all of these male roles that were expected, including going into Wall Street and so on and so forth. But Margie and I worked together to find a way for each of us to do what we were best at. And I could accept if it was something that was normally a male role that she was doing, and I was doing laundry or dishes, that was okay, and we made that work. The other thing that being open to is a tradition that we developed called the contract. And year by year, the contract is not a physical document; it's a mental and emotional document. But the idea was that you came to the table, usually dinner in a good restaurant, and you were prepared to talk about what was working and what wasn't working. And I wasn't as good at thinking about those things in the beginning as I was later on when Margie held my feet to the fire. And I realized I had to prepare for this. But the process of being able to talk about those things relates to communications being one of the most important parts of a successful relationship. And so I was open to the ideas of new things. And again, the openness comes through all of these facets of your life. I can't imagine going through it closed, locked into something, because there's so much that you can take in if you're open. So open is one of my favorite rocks.
And there's no surprise that you picked it. It picked you. Nio and I are always blown away by how this happens for us each and every episode. Yeah. And wow, it's hard to close this one out, Nio. I feel like there's a lot of love, open-heartedness, centeredness, the gifts that you have given me personally. I obviously am a very, very fortunate daughter to have had you as my father and to have watched your growth and learned from it. and have it modeled to me. So I am so, so grateful for you for everything, but especially for coming on today, for taking the time to share your wisdom with our listeners. And yeah, just being an incredible human contributing to the light.
Well,
Absolutely.
thank you. I feel gratitude for Gratitude Rocks having brought us together and given us something that can enhance our understanding of our lives and where they go. And I think it's been great fun to work with you on that. It's enhanced our relationship.
For sure.
So,
And with that, we are so grateful and joyous that we got the opportunity to go on a journey that took us through understanding how to be you, how to be ourselves, how to always be open so we can fully experience situations, and understand that life is about yin and yang. But let's walk towards the light and be better people. Thank you from Joy and Gratitude. We'll see you next.